Welcome back to the Scarlet Faithful podcast. I'm Aaron Brightman, and wanted to first start off with our sponsor, Knights of the Raritan, the Rutgers Collective. They provide a unique way for Rutgers athletic programs to be successful in an ever-changing NIL environment. Become a member of the Knights of Raritan for a chance to win giveaways, unique experiences, exclusive event invites, and more, which leads me to our special guest today, back on the podcast, Rutgers men's basketball coach, Steve Pikiell. Thanks so much for being here.
Aaron, it's great to see you, and thanks. I want to thank the Knights of the Raritan too. So important to our success, and I appreciate you mentioning them and the great job that they do. And they're going to start getting some exclusive content too here coming up. So join, help. It's a big part of what we're doing. So I thank you for promoting that.
Absolutely. Even more reason for people to become members and subscribe to their newsletter. And I always end it by saying the ultimate goal is helping Rutgers student athletes with NIL through Knights of the Raritan. So it's great that you guys have such a great relationship and are working together.
We are working together. We're working hard and doing some, fun stuff this year too. So I think it'll be unbelievable. If they jump on and subscribe, they'll get some updates and some footage that you probably won't get anywhere else. That's
certainly exciting. We're talking here on Thursday, June 6th. And before we start, lots to go into. Busy offseason, exciting. You've talked about social media in the past, and we wake up this morning and there's all these rumors out there about UConn and Danny Hurley. And, I think it's a compliment. Your name's always brought up in regard there. Rutgers fans always rallying online, showing their appreciation for you. I guess, how have you just dealt in this day and age with, your own team and players and how they handle social media and how you handle rumors, and just in terms of keeping everyone focused and where you have this program and where you want to take it?
Aaron, I think this is my 7th cup of coffee today. So this is how I handle a lot of things, and social media is always an area where with my players, I try to keep them focused on the right stuff. It's the hardest thing to do right now in coaching too, because you can spend a lot of time, on those kind of things. And, the rumors and what you hear out there and what have you are crazy. I mean, I'm a UConn guy, so, I went there. My wife's UConn, and it's one of the great universities. Gino Auriemma, Coach Calhoun, and the job Dan Hurley's done are unbelievable. But I don't spend a lot of time, on those kind of things. I'm more worried about June 15th, and our players are coming in every day. Yesterday Tyson Acuff came in, and the day before, PJ came, who I think is one of the best shooters in the country, and Dylan Grant came, and today Lathan Somerville's coming in. So I'm excited. I'm 7 cups in, and I don't even know what time it is. It's 11 o'clock, in the morning, and it's nice when your name's mentioned for some of these things, but I have a mission that I'm kind of on here at Rutgers with the guys that we have. And I'm excited about that. And I'm excited about, the season that's coming. You only get to coach these guys for 1 year now, 1 year at a time. And it's a new kind of perspective on where college athletics is. But we're going to have a great year, and I'm going to give them my best for the next 12 months.
Well, that's certainly reassuring. And, it is a special time. Expectations and just excitement level with the fan base is at an all-time high in your tenure. I first wanted to ask you, just in terms of the world of the transfer portal, NIL, working with collectives, how that's kind of changed your offseason, and coming into this offseason, having to rebuild the roster the way you did, obviously having that heralded 24 recruiting class coming in, but also needing to find certain pieces in the portal. What was your overall kind of approach in terms of balancing that and working with, your NIL budget and how you kind of envision the roster?
Well, I mean, there's so many moving parts now to all of this. I mean, NIL is changing every day. The things we can and can't do are changing every day. But one thing we tried to remain consistent. I have a great staff, and they stayed. So I think that's important. We went about our team and our team roster and figuring stuff out on a timeline that, I think was fair for the kids, and it benefited our program too. So as soon as the season ended, we're able to quickly figure out who wanted to stay and who wanted to, move on. And, I really think our kids, and I thanked all of them, the ones that stayed, has been awesome. Jeremiah is going to have a fantastic season. J. Mike, was a guard this year that just continue to be tougher than everybody and do some unbelievable things. And then Emmanuel's had the best offseason. Obviously, he was hurt for an entire year. I don't think if people quite get the journey coming back from an ACL and not playing basketball for a full year, but we got him for the last 8 games, and we were thankful for that. I think it taught him a lot too, and he's had an awesome offseason. He jumps as high as any center we've ever had, and he runs like as fast as any center we've had. So we're excited about where he could, go with it. And then our incoming freshman class, obviously size and talent and great people. And then, the job we did in the portal, getting kids that fit Rutgers first and foremost. And we were able to jump into the portal at an early time. I think we learned from last year, losing guys late in the year isn't the most ideal thing for you, as a program. And this year we were able to, get involved with some kids earlier on because we had scholarships to do it. And, I think we had a really good guy. I wanted good foul shooters. Like, we really went to solve that problem. That's been a problem for us for a long time. And, I don't mind, I want now the problem to be trying to make a 80% foul shooter 85%, to start with the 45%, try to make them 55 is a hard jump. So I think we went about that, and I said when coaches would come down with a kid in the portal, I started at that statistic and, can they make free throws? And, that's an area that I think we're going to improve drastically, not because we did a great job as coaches, just because we did a great job in the portal, finding kids that, A, went to the foul line a lot, and B, made free throws throughout their career. So I think that was important. But we found great fits, winners, kids who wanted to be here. Tyson Acuff, Jordan, Zach, really good. And then late we got PJ Hayes, who I think is one of the best shooters in the country. So we got a player that can really shoot the ball, and his range is ridiculously deep. So added those guys to go with the freshman class. And so we got the blend of juniors and veterans, and, and I think these kids are winners. And our size at every position, we improved our size. That was a big thing in the portal. I didn't want to have the smallest backcourt in the country. We now can have the biggest backcourt in the country, and big at the 3 and big at the 4 and big at the 5. Like, we could be big. And I think that was a problem with us on the backboards last year too at times. So got great kids. They're energized. They're in the gym kind of kids. And we got them for, 10 months. And I'm so thankful for these 12. I really am. I'm excited about them. And I'm thankful because they all have, every kid now in college basketball has 100 choices. That's probably why so many mistakes are being made too. When you have too many choices, it's not a great thing sometimes. I didn't have any choices. I had one wife that wanted to marry me. I had, one school. I didn't have any choices. So you make it great at the places sometimes you have 100 choices. It's a hard thing.
And talking about that, just in terms of the 12 you have coming back and are coming into the roster this year, a few guys returning. Obviously, a lot of fans talk about that 13 spot and that center position. I'm sure you hear about it often.
Everyone's worried about that. Like, I wish I was, I got 12 great ones, and, I got to find playing time for 12. That's not easy. And, I'm very thankful about the 12. And even at the 5 spot, I love our versatility this year. We've never had Lathan makes free throws. He makes threes. Zach Martini makes free throws. They're probably the biggest strength of those 2 guys is passing the ball to. They're great passers. E has been tremendous. He's going to have he's huge. First of all, he's bigger than, Cliff. We're going to miss Cliff. Cliff was awesome. 4 years of Cliff. He graduated. He was awesome. You're always going to miss those guys that move on, but you're also excited about the opportunity that, Emmanuel was banging with them all, the last, couple months of the season. And I'll tell you, in some days, Emmanuel, like, he's pretty good. So I'm excited about his opportunity. And, he jumps as high as any center that I've ever been around. Lathan is really good. Like, I don't think people understand, he's a highly rated, he's got great hands. He can handle the ball. He's really good at putting it on the deck. He's an excellent passer. And he's a worker from a great family, and he's going to certainly, and then Zach Martini's unique because we got a stretch 5 when we use him at that position. He's a fantastic screen setter. He boxes everybody out, and he's wrestled with every big guy in the country, and he enjoys wrestling. As we saw what he did against Cliff, I only have to pull out the Princeton tape and say, oh, he can wrestle with anybody. And I saw it firsthand. So excited about the 5 spot. And I know everyone worries about life. Yeah, I'm enjoying life. I'm enjoying these kids, the energy that they bring. But let everybody worry. It's a good thing they're talking about us now, and they're worried about one position. They used to be worried about 5. When they first took the job, they were worried about 5. It's a good thing.
Well, and what I've been saying too this offseason is just I feel like also the way you've approached the 5 and the personnel you have, I feel like it speaks to the style that you're going to play. Spread the floor more spacing, not your traditional post up 5. How much is that important in terms of what you're trying to do offensively as a style, and also just with the athleticism and talent you have now in terms of looking to play more up tempo, or just in terms of how you're looking to space the floor offensively?
Yeah, there's a couple of things. First of all, it's great having a scholarship open because stuff happens every day. There's kids reclassifying. There's guys in Europe there, and I got a great staff. So sometimes it's nice to have one that you could possibly go in a lot of different directions with. But we've never been able to play because from Shaq Dorson to Shaq Carter to Cliff and E this year, like we were subbing the same guy in for that player previously. So teams didn't have to make adjustments to us. I think we're just going to be so different now. We're going to have the versatility to play, 5-out basketball, which is going to open up lanes. A lot of times when you have a 5 that doesn't shoot the ball and is more of a rebounder and screener, and that 5-man, Zach Edey, never comes out of the lane. Those players just stay in, and that clogs lanes for other guys. I think, we got tremendous positionless basketball. Like, Ace Bailey's, 6'10", he rebounds, he can bring the ball down. He can post. He can, Zach Martini could do that. Lathan Somerville, could set screens and pass and be a perimeter guy. Like, we could just do more versatility, make teams adjust to us a little bit more. And that's why I'm excited. I'm excited. We got a big, strong bruiser in Emmanuel who can run and jump. We can throw him alley-oops. He can block shots. He can challenge people at the rim. And then we can go different too when we sub in. And we really didn't have that versatility even last year with Wolf and Cliff. They, weren't really perimeter guys. They were, they weren't big at the free throw line, the way these guys can shoot 80% at the free throw line. So, the positives they brought were great, but there were also some ways people could play us that we now can change up and do some different things. So, I'm excited, but, you just got to be excited. Tyson Acuff, 7th leading scorer in the country, and was getting the best defender every day. Jordan, defensive player of the year and the player of the year in a conference. And tough, our toughness has improved tremendously. So our versatility, PJ can play the 2, 3, and the 4. Ace Bailey, he can play the 1 through the 4. He really can. And so I'm excited. Dylan, lefty point guard, downhill, built like a tank. Jay Mike, the fastest guy on our team, always. Jeremiah, one of the best guards returning in the league, and thankful they returned because all of them had choices too. Trust me, they were getting phone calls too. It's the world we're living in. Everyone's getting phone calls and everyone's fielding other, opportunities. So couldn't be more happy. And the way we could play is just a little bit different now. And hopefully we stay healthy, Aaron, because a big part of this is that we've been lucky. My first few years, we've been healthy. This last year, we, a lot of guys banged up and even when we got Mawat Mag back then, he was injured again. So we never really had him a whole year, so a lot of obstacles. Hopefully, we don't have those this year.
Yeah, and even though, you're not going on that overseas trip and everything, getting everybody together in June and healthy and able to start practicing together is actually more of a head start than you even had last offseason, right?
Yeah, it really is. And last season, even, that trip was planned well in advance, but a lot of guys were injured at that point in time. When we planned that trip, Mawat Mag was healthy as could be. And, I didn't know that Emmanuel wouldn't be able to play, and we didn't have Austin playing, and we didn't, had a lot of guys out and injured, and Jeremiah wasn't eligible to play because of the sit-out year. So life changed for our guys, and to have a consistency this summer, I think is going to be really good. Some guys have already been here, and they're already in the weight program, and they're doing some really good stuff. So I'm excited about 8 straight weeks, no traveling, they're just going to be here. We're going to get better, and we're going to take full advantage of our 8 weeks. And I'm excited because, I got to figure it out. But I'm one of 18 coaches. I was in a conference the other day. They're all figuring the teams. This is college basketball now. You no longer have the freshman going to be a sophomore going to be a junior. You got to figure it out every year, and that's a good thing. There's an excitement about figuring it out and doing the right things with your guys. And I think everyone, that's more going to be the future of college athletics moving forward here. You got to figure them out every year, and there's an excitement to that.
Talking about how you built the roster and offensively, one thing that jumped out to me is all the ball handlers you have now in the backcourt, and in addition to all the size you have. But also, you mentioned the free throw shooting, but you also brought in 3 guys that statistically, extremely low turnover rates in Acuff, Martini, and Hayes, but also prioritizing 3-point shooting with Hayes and Martini. How important is all of that just in terms of your vision for the offense, spacing the floor, but also having guys that, can do damage on the perimeter, including Dylan and Ace, but having those guys, that can work off of penetration, but also spot up shooters, having that kind of balance on offense?
I think the first thing we really added was all these guys have ability to be terrific passers, and they've shown the unselfishness. And even Jordan led his team too in assist, and he had to do a lot for that team at Merrimack. But he's a very capable passer. I think the best thing that Dylan and Ace and Lathan do is pass the ball. Bryce Dortch, like that, they really can pass the ball. And obviously, when you play in Princeton, set up for 4 years, you are a very accomplished passer in like how they play. But we wanted to go about improving our size, and I told you the number one priority was free throw shooting. We brought in guys that shoot 80% from the foul line, 70%, and take a lot of attempts. I mean, Jordan has taken more attempts than any player, one of the top in college basketball, getting fouled and getting to the free throw line. So not only do you make them, but you get there, which tells a lot about how you attack the rim and do that. But we wanted unselfish guys that are willing passers, and I think Acuff, even though he was put in some tough spots too, is a very willing passer with tremendous efficiency too for a guy that was getting double teamed a lot. We scanned the portal, we watched a ton of film, but then we did more, Aaron, quite honestly, on what kind of people they are, because they all could have went to different places. Other places were offering a lot more than we were, and in a lot of different areas. But they came here because they want to play with really good players. They're excited about sellouts in the arena. They're excited about, playing with this freshman class and the veterans that have returned. And, I'm excited about that, because at the end of the day, you want kids that want to be here. And these kids want to be here, and I want to coach them. So it's a good thing.
And another good thing, I think, in terms of how you're blending experience with the incoming freshman talent, and talking about what you mentioned in terms of being good fits. I guess, what is your approach as a coach now going into summer workouts in terms of finding roles, building roles, getting everyone bought in, and how important that is to the ultimate success of this team next season?
I mean, it's every year. Like, it's a part that you have to figure out and you have to manage. Because everyone wants the role that LeBron James has. Take every shot, play every minute. It's not possible. Even he can't win a championship on his own. You got to have guys that are willing to, do their part. And I like the fact that all the kids we brought in are winners. They've won. They've won in high school. They've won in college. They've won. And I think that'll continue. We've had guys talk about leadership. Never in the portal have I ever had a kid talk about leadership on the first phone call. They usually talk about, how many minutes, shot attempts, what about the NIL? Like, that's become the norm. And in that order, some way, shape, or form, sometimes it starts with the NIL and then goes to, but, Zach Martin, my first conversation was he thinks he can be a fantastic leader. Like, I said, wow, like, that's just different. And he loved the fact that Princeton got to a Sweet 16, and, he's talking about trying to do that, somewhere else, those conversations aren't usually had, in your first conversations with these kids. And I feel bad for these kids too in the portal. They get 72 calls in one day. I mean, I don't even know how they handle it. And are 72 schools really interested? I don't know who they talk to. It's got to be hard for them to decipher down and figure out, what they truly want. But, we were able to get guys that that want to be leaders. I think that's important. Jeremiah has taken over the mantle there. He's had the best personality last year. I saw it in him, but he comes to me with ideas on leadership, and that's, a first, and how he wants to handle practice and how he wants, to handle who's rooming with each other on the road, like those kind of things. And you usually don't get a lot of kids thinking about those kind of things. You get coaches, because we wake up every morning thinking about everything. But kids usually want to think about what beach they're going to, and these guys are thinking about leadership. So I find that a real exciting. We'll work with all these guys, and I'm excited because I got to figure some things out too. With this group, but that's going to be the new college athletics. Every year, you're going to have to figure out guys and how they fit into the roles you need them to. And one of the roles I want to work and win. Those are the two things. Work usually, distinguishes a lot of the roles guys will have, and then winning, decides a lot too. So the guys that win the most will probably play the most, and they'll like their roles the most.
With Ace and Dylan, two of the top talents in the incoming class nationally, projected NBA lottery picks already. I guess, they're the two most talented in terms of ratings players you've ever had. What's your approach, expectations for them, and how important is it for them to blend into the team environment and kind of embrace some of those older players and be able to put in that work in on the court, off the court, to really build a bond together for this season?
Yeah, I mean, it's exciting, to have, those two guys. The five freshmen are all, quite honestly, they're all exciting, and they all do some unbelievable things. But these two guys they work. And that's the first thing. They love basketball. Like, they are in the gym. They're in the gym when they're home. They're in the gym when they're here. They're in the gym no matter where they are. And they've won. They've really won. And, we saw them play on AAU teams. We saw them play on USA basketball teams. We saw them play on their high school teams. We weren't always surrounded by the most talent. Like, they always figured out a way to win. And they got great personalities. I mean, the energy that Ace has is unbelievable. Like, I look forward to matching his energy every day. He is a high energy guy from the minute he walks in the gym. And Dylan just continues to get better. I don't know, you saw him through his high school career. You saw him 4 years ago to, MVP of the McDonald's game, MVP of the Jordan Brand game. I mean, these is, what he has done in a short time. And they're truly young guys too. They're not 8th year seniors and 9th year, these guys, are the right age that they're supposed to be. And so to have the abilities and the talent that they have, and they're excited about blending in with Jeremiah and Zach Martini. They know those veterans and how important they are, but they're going to bring a lot of fun. They're going to bring fun to the court, but they're going to bring a competitiveness that I think all our players. Martini's got a competitiveness about him. Jordan, yeah, PJ got a little competitiveness to him. Like, that's what I'm most excited. And we know Jay Mike's a competitor too, and Emmanuel, like, he's a competitor. He could, Cliff could give you a scouting report. He competed when he was healthy against Cliff. There was competitiveness there, so it made Cliff better. So I'm excited about that. And those two guys they bring that. And they brought that for years. That's how they've gotten to where they've gotten.
Well, in talking about the competitiveness and kind of elevating each other, I can't imagine the summer workouts, how competitive it is going to be getting all 12 guys together for the first time. You talked about toughness before, just in terms of the mindset and what you're trying to build. I guess, what was the vision that, you had for Ace and Dylan and all your freshmen coming in and all your transfers? What did you explain to them or pitch them in terms of how you envision this team and what you want from this team for this season and your goals and expectations in terms of, all of them being a part of this together?
I mean, we're trying to win Final Four and get to a national championship. And, the great part with these guys, I didn't promise them anything. Come here and help us do that. And, I think they were being promised a lot of things, a lot of places. And, I'm going to coach them. I'm going to have my best year as a coach, and I have to. And I'm excited about that. I told my staff's going to have their best year too. But, these kids just want a chance, and they want opportunities. They know they're good. They know they're talented, and they know what they're capable of. But, they're not going to get any promises in their professional careers either. So come here and work your tail off, work and win. And the rest will kind of take care of all the individual goals that they have, and those are the two words we're going to talk a lot about, work and win. And you need each other to do that. And so We're going to need Ace to block shots and pass the ball and rebound and outlet it. We're going to need Dylan to go downhill and share the ball. We're going to need PJ to make threes when he's open, Martini to make threes. We're going to need all of these guys to rebound. We're going to need J. Mike to pick up 94 feet because he's capable of guarding a guard 94 feet. We're going to need E to be collecting bodies, we call it, physically, just posting guys up, even creating lanes to drive it. Dylan Grant is probably the best athlete in the whole 12. He's above the rim. He runs like as fast as anybody, 6'9". We're going to need him. Bryce is an exceptional passer, and I think he could be like Caleb McConnell defensively. He's a versatile defender. Jordan, tough as nails, downhill, going to get fouled. One of the top steals guy in the country, so I like that defensively. Acuff can create at the end of a shot clock. He's 6'5". He weighed in yesterday at 215, so he's not a small guard. He's actually a big guard. I'm just excited about all of them, and they all bring that already. Now I got to blend it all together and have them understand that it's each other that matters, not, maybe one day Dylan scores 30, and then the next day it's got to be PJ has got to make 5 threes, understand that they can only do these things, work and win, if they have each other's backs. And that starts on the 15th.
Just in terms of with this group and, having them focus on all of that, I guess, how have you as a staff kind of thought about or talked about all the increased expectations that will be, national media, things that you haven't necessarily had to deal with in your tenure so far? Speaks volumes to how much you've elevated this program in your tenure. But how important is that as a staff to kind of almost embrace that and know that it's inevitable? Obviously, fan expectations, but also national media, and kind of managing that throughout the process of this season.
What do you mean, Aaron? We haven't had expectations the last few years. People, there was none. There was none. Hey, it's awesome. I mean, Rutgers Nation's been awesome. I can only tell you, I love it here. We're selling out every game. We're 63 straight sellouts already, and add next year into that, it's gonna, Rutgers Nation is what makes Rutgers basketball, and I love it. I love when they have high expectations. I do too. So nothing changes there. I thought we should have been great last year. Now things didn't go our way. We had some tough breaks too, injury-wise. I still think that was a huge part of that. But, I think we certainly could have, won some more games, with some injury. Maybe Jeremiah, maybe a little luck, get him eligible 10 games earlier too. But those things didn't happen. And, you deal with obstacles every year. I'm excited about what this year could mean for everybody. I'm excited. Everyone has high expectations. None are higher than mine. I still have the same trophy case that I had 8 years ago, up here, and I still remind guys every day that we need to put some balls on those shelves. So, in national media, they've been awesome. They always have, even throughout our tenure. We didn't take over a stacked roster when we first got the job. We didn't take over a program that had everything in place. Now, I'm proud. We graduate everyone. No one talks about that anymore. That's not a Ken Palm ranking, but we've graduated every kid since we've been here. That's a ranking I'm proud of. Randy does an unbelievable job with our kids academically. We produce great kids. They go out and do some unbelievable things. And Andre Hyatt's in Greece right now playing professional basketball with his master's degree. Kwasi Abo, I talked to him the other day. I mean, he's finishing up his master's. Corey Sanders coming back to school to finish his undergrad, which I'm proud of him. He's in Saudi Arabia playing professionally now, but he's taking classes online. This is right now the greatest university. We're ranked 15th nationally, public university in the country. Our admission standards are off the charts. We're in the Big Ten. Shiano football, beat Miami. No one bringing out Pinstripe Bowl. It's got everybody back. Awesome job. This is a great time. This is a great university with great people. We're doing some great things, and expectations are through the roof. They were through the roof 6 years ago. So for what we had, I like them through the roof now when I have a couple McDonald's All-Americans. I got a couple 7-footers. I got a couple shooters that can shoot from anywhere. Bring it on. It's all good.
Those are great points. And all I meant by that is don't be surprised if John Rothstein's waiting outside the APC for you early in the morning with a coffee. That's all I mean by the media being all over you next year. So good luck with that.
Aaron, anyone bringing a coffee is welcome in the APC. All good.
And wanted to touch on scheduling. I know some things are still being worked out, but how important was it for you to challenge this team, this group, and get them on the national stage. I know the Vegas tournament's being talked about also, just in terms of how important that competition is to test them early and also give them that platform and exposure on a national level.
If you think the portal is hard to navigate nowadays with agents and with everything else, scheduling's right there with it. So it's always unbelievable. I thought I had a game one day, and the next day the coach left. So we no longer had that game. We've been talking about it for a year and filling out the details of what that is. So scheduling's always really difficult. And I'm trying, quite honestly, Aaron, like to play home games. We've worked really hard over the last few years to have an 84% winning percentage at home. Like it's as good a home winning percentage as ever, but it's getting harder to schedule teams to come here too. So that's been a positive stat, but that stat hurts you too and get games. So I'm trying to play enough games here, but take over the opportunities that we're getting to play neutral site games and some of these high profile games. And, knowing too every year for the last, I only know my track record here, 8 years in the league. We've always played a top 3 Big Ten schedule, strength of schedule. So I don't know how that happens, Aaron, every year. Maybe they like Coach Pikiell and they want him to have no more all gray hairs, but every year we seem to, and no one ever mentions that, but we're going to play a great schedule again in the conference, and it will be the best conference. We've added UCLA, we've added USC, we've added teams with Washington, Oregon with big collectives and, big traditions. So we've added 4 more that we got to fight through. But I think we've had a great blend of playing unbelievable teams, so our non-conference schedule has always been good. Now it's going to be off the charts. So it puts a lot of pressure on guys. You got to be good from day one. Get no time to figure it out. You only get 20 hours a week. Remember, we don't get to 20 hours until end of September too. So you got to figure out your team in 20 hours. I say to my guys, we got to figure our team out in 80 hours, and you got to be good from day one, with your roster. So we'll have to be that this year, but it's exciting. I think I'd like to play some more home games, but quite honestly, that's not going to happen. We'll be playing more neutral sites probably moving forward.
In terms of obviously expectations, the pressure that comes with all that, how much have you kind of been able to step back a little bit and just appreciate how far you've been able to bring this program, embrace these expectations, and also kind of get your players to embrace it as well? You always talk about, overcoming obstacles, embracing obstacles. It's going to be certainly a roller coaster ahead. But how, I guess, excited are you for the opportunity and getting everyone in the program, moving in the right direction and believing that this can be a special season ahead?
It will be. And I think it starts with President Holloway, Pat Hobbs, like great people like them. A lot of this starts at that level. And then understanding the challenges that we have, and we all have to be on the same page, through all the obstacles. And with my team too, I try to get them to, not get caught up in the social media. Like we need to work and we need to win, and we need each other to do those two things. So, expectations are great. We got to fulfill the work that goes into it and each other that goes into, having those great years. And when we had everyone on the same page and when we stayed healthy, we've had some really good success around here. I'm glad you're talking about us in June. I really mean that too. Like sometimes I don't know what's being said out there or but people are talking about us. That wasn't always the case. And people are excited and people want to know June 15th. Before they only wanted to know October 15th because that's when the season started back in the day. So now social media has got a whole nother timeline for when things start and what they want to drum up. But the storyline this year is going to be work and win and each other, and it's going to take us in that order to do the things that we want to accomplish as a team. And I think everyone's coming in there. Some of the guys in the portal said that they loved that part of what I said, like I want to try to win the national championship. Some schools are saying we're just trying to get to the NCAA tournament. And I said, listen, I said this 8 years ago, so this isn't anything I'm just saying now. That's what, I came here to do. I think that's what these kids in this room came here to do. Is it easy? Of course it's not. Our league's a monster. And we just added 4 best teams, in the West Coast out here. So it's going to be even harder. If you do it each other, you win and good things happen. And that's going to continue to be our our song. But I'm happy. You know, I think we've improved in a lot of areas, and I think we handled the portal. Like, we're all learning the portal. People think you got this magic formula. Like, portal's new to everybody. Transfers that are eligible to play right away, that's new. You got to kind of figure all this stuff out. And then our kids that, you know, wanted to, sometimes they just want to test the portal because it's the portal. It's a sexy thing on their phone every day. And not because they want to leave, not because they didn't like, well, it's the portal. I don't know what's out. It's like buying a lotto ticket. You know what I mean? So some of them just need that for themselves. And some of them had been thinking about it for 3 months. So it was an easy decision. Boom. You know, they're going in the portal right away from day one. I'm glad. I appreciate the fact that they didn't drag Rutgers for 3-4 weeks, which they could have done. You know, so I'm thankful for the guys that stayed. I'm thankful for the guys that put their name in the portal in a timely fashion. I wish them all like success, but I'm really thankful the guys that we got 12 guys that said yes, Aaron. That's an awesome thing. There's programs out there right now that have 6 scholarships and I know that feeling too. That's not a great feeling, but that's the world we're living in. So you got to get some special kids to say yes, some special fans. I appreciate you letting me talk to the fans today too.
Traditionally, you've had a rim defender down low. You know, Cliff, obviously, you know, a great example of that. I was curious in terms of how you built the roster with the physicality and the size you have on the perimeter and your backcourt. How much, I guess, defensively you'll be different, and how much of an emphasis, you know, you had in your mind. Obviously, you needed offense. And you looked at that, you talked about free throw shooting, but how do you think that this team gels or looks on the court in terms from a defensive perspective?
Our versatility and our size, you know, we can switch all 5 positions now, which we've never been able to do. I mean, Dylan Harper is 6'6", 6'7", 225. That's good, a point guard. Like, you know, Ace could be a 2-man at 6'10". Jeremiah probably guards bigs as well as any guy on our team. Our versatility with each position, and we become a more positionless, you know, basketball team. So we can not only, I'm going to be excited to see Ace Bailey at the top of our press, the top of our 1-3-1 zone, the top, you know, like, I mean, you're talking about length, Bryce Stewart's length. You're talking about guys that are long and athletic, and don't sleep on Emmanuel. He jumps as high as any guy that we've ever had here. He can block shots at the rim. He's going to be a huge presence. I mean, he's huge. I mean, physically, he's as big a guy as we've had, and he can jump. So we'll still be able. Ace Bailey is an elite rebounder. I've seen him grab 25 rebounds in a game. His length is outstanding. We'll defend. You guys know J. Mike is as good a perimeter defender as there is in the league, too. Zach Martini, I'm going to give a compliment to a guy. I never watched a guy in film never miss a block out the way Zach Martini likes to hit people and block them out. Like, really an unbelievable, you know, no one stats that kind of stuff. But as a coach, when you watch that, that's a different kind of guy that's going to hit people as soon as the shot goes up, like he does, you know, so, you know, he may not get the rebound, but I'm telling you, his guy isn't getting the rebound. I will tell you. And he enjoys doing that. I like guys. Emmanuel likes to hit people. That's like Shiano should come and take Emmanuel and take Martini, but I won't let him. Maybe their 6th year, maybe they could get a 7th year of eligibility somewhere down the road, but they actually like hitting people. Very few in college now enjoy that, and we have 2 guys that enjoy that, and I love that part of it. And then Zach Martini, I never seen a guy get down for loose balls the way he does. Like when there's a fumble, he is on the ball. You know, so these are stats that are going to help our defense tremendously. I think the voices these guys have too. We were kind of a quiet team. Cliff was great, but he's kind of quiet. Mawat's quiet. We had a quiet team last year. I think we got some guys now with some voices, and that'll help our defense too. So we can do a lot of different things. We're going to be really good defensively, you know, and all of our teams pretty much have. This past year, we weren't a good rebounding team. You know, we started small backcourt, like small, 170 pounds, small. You know, now, you know, these guys are a little bit bigger at every spot and more physically. You know, Dave Van Dyke hugged me the other day. It's the first time he's ever hugged me. You know, like usually I'm bringing in projects and guys like that. You know, they're big and strong now. Make them stronger. You know, make them bigger. So I'm pleased with that. But we'll be good defensively. We'll be good offensively too. We'll make free throws. That'll change a lot of these stats that people write about. That'll change our numbers drastically. if we can now become a good foul shooting team. We haven't been since I've been here, quite honestly. I've done a bad job in foul shooting development. So I got to do a better job. I have done a better job this year of making sure the guys that come in can make free throws. So that'll help us. I'll be a genius coach now and say, hey, we're foul shooting.
Rutgers men's basketball coach Steve Pikiell, I'm excited for you to have this group. I've always felt a strength of yours is your ability to scheme defensively and also be able to have that positional versatility. So can't wait to watch you cook. And so much appreciate so much of your time today and your generosity. It's always a pleasure to have you on the Scarlet Faithful podcast. Thank you so much for your time and good luck starting June 15th and getting this team together.
Thanks, Aaron. Excited to be on. Thanks for having me.